The world depends on agriculture, but farming isn't just hard work. It's innovation, strategy, business. This is the Wylie AgCast, where we dive into everything that drives modern agriculture. From the latest advancements in ag tech to the business strategies shaping the industry, we cover tools, trends, and challenges that matter to you. Sit back, relax, and tune in.
Welcome to another episode of the Wylie AgCast. Today I'm here with Corporate Application Service Manager, Mr. David Vaughn. David, how you doing today?
Doing great.
Good to hear. So I appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a good episode, I think. So starting out, just talk a little bit about your backstory, a little history of Mr. David Vaughn. What brought you into Wylie and into this role specifically?
Okay, well, I farmed, started farming pretty much right after me and Kim got married, and I helped farm for my father-in-law some, and then we branched out on our own and became self-farmers, and it was going great. Everything was good. We had a good life, raised a family on the farm, and there was just a time in the process of that we felt like that it was time for us to move on maybe to something else. So I gave up some of the land that I'd farmed, and then we decided to get into the spray business, which I don't know if that was the smartest thing to do, but I bought a spray coop and we began spraying for custom application and farming at the same time, and it just got overwhelming at that time. And Kim had taken a job with the John Deere dealership with Hurst. It worked out real well for us. And I kept farming for that next year, and it was just about to take its toll on everybody. And so I gave up the spray business, and one day I was going into Wylie's, and I happened to run into Scott, and Scott just asked me if I would be interested in maybe going to work for him and running an assembly plant.
Okay.
Well, at that time, I didn't know what God had in store for all of us.
Sure.
You know, at that time, we were praying about it and different things. And so he just asked me again, and I was in his office, and he asked me again if I'd consider taking that role. I didn't know what they did, even though it was a hometown business. I'd never been through that plant. I didn't know. I know what Wylie's makes, and I know how they make it, but I never knew the ins and outs of it. So I told Scott he was going to have to let me pray about it, and within a week I gave him an answer, and I felt like that was a godsend for us. So at that time I went to work for Wylie's, and I worked 5 years running the assembly plant.
Okay.
And I was the head of the plant, and with help of a lot of big other people, team members, and couldn't have done it without them, that's for sure. So that rocked along about 5 years, and then after that, there came an opportunity. I think it was an opportunity. There came an opportunity that they were going to look into expanding the application side. It had already started. Right. There was some people in place for that, but some things had happened and changes were made, and Scott and Mickey had approached me, and I wanted to know if I would consider taking that role on as the application service manager. So I had to pray about that, because that was going to be a big jump for us, and I knew the demand of what it would come. I didn't realize how great it would be at that time, but I made the joke that I'd never had a service phone. I just sat around and listened to music on the radio and stuff, but I thought, what am I going to do with the phone? They gave me a phone for service, and I thought, what am I going to do with that phone? Well, now I know. I wished I didn't have the phone. But it is what it is. It comes with the territory, but I've been at that role now for 20 years. Man. I've been with Wylie's 25 years. I appreciate Scott giving me that opportunity to come aboard with a great company. All in all, it's been a great opportunity for me and my family.
Yes, sir.
My kids is grown up. They're all grown at that time when I was making the changes, so it was easy for me to stay at work when I needed to and take the time to give the job what it needed at that time. So it was easier for me at that time.
Yeah.
But I haven't regretted a bit of it. I've got great employees.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't do what I do without them. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. Well, curiosity question. So going from customer to employee, when you were a customer, what was it that brought you to Wylie? Why'd you choose to go buy from Wylie?
Well, mainly it was in my town.
Well,
And from Petersburg, it was local.
Right.
You always want to try to support the local people.
right.
Plus, it's a good product. I mean, the local part is a good benefit because you don't have to go far for parts.
Right.
The main thing is that the equipment's good. I mean, they probably got some of the best equipment out there on the market as far as agriculture equipment, and everybody will tell you that it's a good product. I did business there forever, and I still do business with Wiley's, even though I might purchase it on my own.
Right.
But Wiley's is a good company, and they make a top quality product.
Yes, sir. Well, it seems to have continued to stick all
Yep.
through these years, so that's a good deal. So you run your own farm, you said, and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, we farmed for 22 years, and then we kind of bowed out. But the good Lord has seen fit to give us the opportunity to start farming again. Kim's dad, my wife, Steve Trowbridge,
Yes, sir.
he's retired. He's got some health issues. He's in good health. He just can't get around, and he decided that it was time for him to hang it up. So we took that on and decided that's what we wanted to do for after we retire. We want to be able to follow the passion that we have for the farm and the ranch, and so it's an opportunity for us to get back into farming. And we've chosen to go in it with my son Travis and his
Yes,
wife Lisa. We're a partnership, and it's small, but you know what? We enjoy working together. It's been good. Nothing's changed really, except the equipment. The things that cost so much, but it's hard to get away from it once it's in your blood. The farming really sticks with you, and it's been good that we've been given that opportunity to run the family farm again.
Right.
Even though it's small,
Yeah.
it still takes time, and we still put our hard work into it after we leave a job,
Yeah.
and that's late at nights and on weekends. So we're hoping that it gives me something to do when I retire,
Yeah. Okay.
some purpose.
Right. Right. Well, what do you grow on your farm?
Well, we're dry land, so mainly we don't have very many options.
Right.
So it's either cotton or Milo or wheat.
Okay.
Last year we had cotton, and it was insured out.
Gotcha.
This year we planted Milo, and it did very well for dry land. We were very tickled with it. And
Yeah.
then the wheat, we plant it and hope it does good, but you never get very many rains that you need in a timely manner. So we end up spraying it and killing it and going back in with our cotton or Milo or whatever.
Right. So you can actually reset if you.
Somewhat, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, somewhat. I think it's easier without the irrigation because you're not demanding to just stay on top of everything. Once you start watering and spraying, and it just never ends. So,
Yeah.
And we don't have time for that. So we're going to do the very best we can with the land that we have, the water that we don't have, and we're just going to try to make it work and pencil out as best we can.
So what do you do to decide what you're going to plant right off the bat?
Well, it kind of depends on the market, the futures. You can try to plan on the rainfall, but that's a guess at best.
Right.
Nobody knows what the rainfall is going to be, and that's what you need. I mean, if you don't have irrigation, you got to have the rain to make it work, and you got to plan ahead because if it doesn't rain, then you've wasted a lot of money for a crop that's not coming. So,
Right.
so you kind of, and that's why it's so urgent to take care of everything at the time that you're getting ready to plant or to get ready to spray and make those decisions. How much is it going to cost you, and can you get that back?
Right.
So we're pretty much strict down to those three crops.
Gotcha.
We could plant some sunflowers, but we'll stick with the pretty much basics for right now.
Right. Well, especially around here. I mean, cotton.
Yeah, exactly.
Cotton is everywhere, so
Yeah.
can't get away from it. But and you said a ranch. Do you do any ranching too?
We're very small.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about 15 head of cows.
Gotcha.
That's all we have. Now, are we wanting to grow? Yeah, I'd like to grow into a bigger herd if we can. But
Right.
we're going to take our time. We're not going to go into debt over trying to buy cows because they're high right now.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, it's good for the rancher. So it's not so good for the buyer right now. So that's okay. But that seller, he's got it made. You know, and I'm proud for the cattle market, the ranchers that are finally getting what's due.
Right.
The prices are due. They've worked hard, and I'm ready. I'm looking for the farmers to get that same price. It'd
Yes,
be
sir.
nice.
So what's I guess it's an ignorance question, but what's the biggest difference between a farmer and a rancher?
Well, a prays for rain all the time, and the farmer prays for a certain time.
Right.
The rancher always wants rain because he's got grass.
Right.
And a farmer, he wants it right now, and it wants it dry tomorrow, and then he wants another rain next week, and he wants it dry. So the biggest difference is it's two really different worlds, in my opinion. You can't have just a farm unless it's huge.
Right.
And you have kind of a corporate farm, so to speak. A ranch, you don't have to be so big to make it because of the cattle market. Now, I'm talking about right now, but not,
Right.
There's been past times that the cattle market hadn't been good, but for right now, it's pretty good. So I think the difference is the two can work together. I've heard a couple of my friends that have been subsidizing their farming with their cattle.
Okay.
And I've had one of them tell me he's done with that. He's going all cattle because if it's making him money and he's having to subsidize his farming, why would you want to continue farming when your cattle's making money? So he's switching over.
Okay.
But he's got an opportunity with some grass that he has, and he's planting grass, and he's got irrigation where he can make the grass grow for him.
Right.
But it's two different worlds, but they can work together, in my mindset, that for the benefit of the farm.
Yeah.
Because you just sometimes you can't have enough land for those cattle, and it takes a lot.
Would you say would you need more land to take care of cattle than you do to farm on, or is it about the same?
You got to have more cattle to make it work.
Gotcha.
If that's all you're going to do, you can't make money off and live off of 30 head of cows. It's not going
Right.
to work. It's just not. Now you can subsidize that with farming,
Gotcha.
and there's a lot of guys out there that do that.
So why is that? Why can't you make with just 30?
Well, if you're living off of that,
Mhm.
if your family's living off of that, plus you're trying to make bills, and you have 2 or 3 kiddos,
Right.
yeah, it's not going to put it together.
Oh, okay. Revenue stream. Okay.
Yeah, the
Gotcha.
revenue's not going to be there just to be a rancher
Right.
on a small scale.
Sure.
Now, if you're a big scale where you've got thousands and thousands of acres, that makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. So what did you have to do to convert some of that farmland to ranch on?
Well, right now we're in the process of hopefully taking 200 acres of that farmland and converting it back to grass.
Okay.
It's not the greatest piece of property. It's a slope. So it was a decision that we made. The programs are there through the government to try to help you, but there are certain stipulations that you have to abide by when you sign up for those, which sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. And when you sign up with them, you pretty much do what the government tells you you're going to do.
Right.
So we decided to go on our own and just try to take that 200 acres and put grass in, and we've already started the process of sowing wheat on it, and then we're going to try to kill it in June and in May and try to get that grass in. So if all that works good, we could possibly be grazing it in 2 years,
Gotcha. Okay.
which will help, and we could
Right.
gain more cattle that way.
Are you looking to grow into more ranching, or are you still?
It'll be probably a third, 2/3.
Gotcha.
We'll
Okay.
probably stay that's all I'll convert. The rest is flat. It's good.
Yeah.
The soil's great. If you can just get the rains in a timely manner, we'll make a crop.
Well, it's been pretty wet this year. Has that been helpful?
It was wet early. Everybody got their crops in. It looked really good.
Yeah.
it really helped the irrigated guys because they could just keep right on going after it started drying up.
Sure.
I mean, the Milo did great for us. I mean, really good dry land. So we were fortunate to get those rains early, get it in, and then kept getting rains. Then, of course, around here in this country, when it quits, it quits.
Right.
And you're pretty much done. So you just kind of got to hope the underground moisture's there to carry it through.
Yes, sir.
Through the harvest. And we were fortunate that it did drop off a little bit, and we didn't get any much rain after, it's the beginning of July. So
Right.
it got hot, and it started drying up, but the underground moisture that we had sustained it so we could at least make a decent crop.
Well, good deal. So what do you do about risk management? So if the weather doesn't cooperate or markets don't cooperate or anything like that?
Well, there's a lot of people out there that farm for the insurance.
Okay.
I've always said I don't think there's a farmer alive that or a rancher wants everything given to him. I don't believe that. I think there's programs out there that are beneficial. They help. They assist the farmers and the ranchers. But to plan for insurance, in my opinion, is very dangerous. And I think you ought to plan to farm and to make a crop. And if the good Lord sees fit for you to make that crop, you'll see it. And if it doesn't rain, but that's what the disaster and that's what the insurance is for.
Right.
It's to help out when there's failures, when there's disasters, when there's drought years. The insurance has to be there to compensate these farmers.
Yes,
Because
sir.
if they don't, they're not going to have a leg to stand on, and they're not going to be able to pay anything back that they've borrowed their money on. So there are avenues out there. I want everybody to really understand the farmers aren't farming for that insurance,
Yeah.
but it gives them no other opportunity other than to do that. So it's a must, and we're thankful that it's out there for us to have. It's kind of like leaning on that in case you need it. And
Sure.
There's more times than not here lately that we've needed it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know the cotton market at least has been
Yeah,
fluctuating heavily.
it's terrible. It's what it was 22 years ago,
Okay.
25 years ago when I was farming. Still get the same price for their commodities, but the equipment, the labor, everything that goes through that bank and out there on that farm is tripled, doubled if not tripled the prices. It's a never-ending battle to try to pay that back with 65 cents, even 75 to 80 cent cotton. It's a
Sure.
struggle.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like that the insurance and stuff like that helps enough to get you over that hump, or is it just enough to?
It
kind
just
of make,
depends on when you lose that crop. If you
Sure.
take it full harvest, it's probably just going to be enough to make you pay out. Maybe it may not help you make your equipment payments, but a guy that solely farms and has no other income. I mean, I'm fortunate to have a job
Sure.
that pays me really well to do a job.
Yes, sir.
We are fortunate to have that. My wife, Kim, she works. We're fortunate to have those jobs. If we didn't have those jobs, we wouldn't be able to do even this little farming. It just wouldn't work. And it's not a hobby. It's something that you work at.
Yes, sir.
But it's extremely important that the guys, everybody, the government, everybody around us understands that we have got to do something about the prices that these guys get for their commodities. Because if they don't get them, they just break even. They've got all these debts on this big equipment that they've taken loans out that they can't make payments. And if you take a piece of equipment that you're making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of payment a year,
Yeah.
that's your profit that you're spending on that stuff. And if you don't make that, then that's how much you go in the hole. And I think everybody needs to. I wished everybody could understand where that farmer's sitting, and what he's going through, how much he's spent, and just take a step back and go, wow, they're still farming, buying this big equipment, having to. You can fix up used stuff, and it costs too.
Right.
But that's where I wish people could understand. The farmers need the price in order to get the price for their commodity so they can make it. Because if they don't, they're just going to be, it's year to year. They can't make anything to put it back for the next payment or land payments if that's what they so choose. So it's important that they understand that.
Do you see it? Do you see cotton prices getting better?
What I've heard and what I've seen, no. I mean, better is better 80 cents or is better 120, 105?
Right.
Better would be 120. They could probably make some money and make their payments. At 60 cents, 65, 70, it's a struggle. I don't see how they make it.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they got to make 3 and 4 bale the acre, and guess what? That's where we fall back onto the water again.
Right.
You dryland boys, they're not going to make that.
Right.
There's no hope to make that.
Well, and I see, I mean, the gins are shutting down and jobs cause job loss is where I'm getting out there. And, I mean, I could see that hurting in the long run because you get more and more people to stop making it, and then we're going to have to start relying on, you know, external whatevers to start bringing it in, and then that just continues to hurt.
Well, it hurts. It hurts every business out there.
Right.
I mean, you can tell it on our side right now. You know,
Yeah.
people aren't buying new machinery. It costs so much. And they're not getting anything for their commodities, so how can they? And when they don't buy new, then it hurts because it hurts our sales portion of our business. Now, it helps increase our service side.
Sure.
Because we're running special programs and getting people to come in and bring their used, and I don't want to say old,
Right.
but they're used equipment. And if we keep them up for them, they're not so old. They can still get good benefit out of these older machines. And they had most of my customers, they talk to you about uptimes and different things, and they'd rather spend $30,000 on fixing the old sprayer so it lasts all year long than making a payment of $800,000 or $100,000 a year. It makes sense to them, and it does to me too.
Yeah.
But eventually, we've got to sell new product.
Well, sure.
We have to stay in business.
Sure. Well, and they're going to make it whether we sell it or not.
That's right.
So they don't need an overstock, and we don't, you know, it's just the way the business.
It's just you can't control the commodity prices right
Sure,
now.
sure.
Somebody's got they got to step in and help them.
Yeah. Well, and I personally, I feel like they're doing that, but, you know, as best that they can. But, you know, it's a lot to think about.
Yep.
There's a lot of people affected by just what you would think is one simple thing, but, you know, it all trickles down.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, it does definitely.
yes, sir. How do you strategize all this? You know, managing your equipment, managing what are you going to plant, when are you going to plant it, things like that. What do you sit down and just write it all out and put a game plan together, or what's your strategy there?
Well, on my side again, it's just a small farm. It's you know, we just farm a section, and I mean, since I'm partnership with Travis and which is a great team, him and his wife and Kim, my wife, we're pretty much limited on what we're going to have to strategize. It's not a big farm.
Sure.
But it's still the same principles. You got to figure out what you're going to plant. If maybe your rotation, like last year we planted cotton. So this year we decided to go Milo because of the price, and we do own our own combine and grain buggy and trucks. So we decided to go Milo, and we just scoot over 20 inches and plant it right in the middle. And, you know, it's no till, and then we just decide that's going to be our crop. We take out the insurance for it. We know that we're going to have to plan for the harvest or for the destroying the crop if the insurance has to come in and take over.
Sure.
But these bigger farmers to strategize that way. Now that's some planning, because you're talking about millions of dollars, and we're on our side where we are the only labor pool. We have to do it ourselves, that's where we save our money.
Right.
We save our money by doing it ourselves. It's small enough that we can do it after work and weekends. So you got to strategize as far as planning how much labor costs you're going to have, which that's in itself is crazy how much they're having to pay. Then you got to strategize on what crop you can grow where your water is, which again, that's easy for us. We have pretty limited. And then pretty much all we have to strategize after that is how we're going to harvest it and where we're going to take it. And can we contract it? Do we need to? Of course, we're fortunate. We got a local elevator out there that took our Milo this year, and we got a good price for it, so that helped. But as far as planning, you can plan all day long, but if it doesn't rain, it's not going to matter.
Sure.
So those guys have to really, all farmers have to really decide, am I going cotton, or am I going to rotate? And a lot of people have started rotating over to Milo and over to letting wheat grow up and trying to harvest that.
Yeah.
So the strategy is, I think some of it, most of it, so a lot of us, is how much moisture do you have going into the spring, into the planting time in April, May? Do you have enough moisture to carry it? If you don't have it, you're not going to plant something that desires it or needs it. But again, I'm limited, so I've got two options pretty much.
Right. So do you think that with the amount of rain that we've gotten this year, that it's helped kind of, I guess, raise morale a little bit?
There's no doubt. I've talked to a couple of guys that farm. One of them's in Muleshoe, and he commented on the crop was amazing. And,
Yes, sir.
And they did get, everybody that did get these early rains, it did push them along, and it's going to make them have a better dryland crop than they have. The irrigated boys, of course, it helped them because they saved maybe that first 2 or 3 waterings, and that helps when it pushes your corn or your Milo or your cotton out a month that you didn't have to run those wells and run those pivots. Man, that's savings in itself.
Right.
So, and that's something you can't pencil in. You can't even fathom how much money they're saving by not watering. So the dryland boys, yeah, it put a profile in there. It gave us what we needed to sustain it for a while, and it did. It held on. It made a crop. So we're real thankful for that.
Absolutely. So how come you don't irrigate yours?
There's no water.
Gotcha.
There's nothing there.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's might get some drinking water. We do have a well that runs
Sure.
our farm, our barn, and the cows there. But if you don't have the water underground in the aquifer, then you're not going to be able to water.
Sure.
And there are still some pockets that has good water. But again, once they start, they have to keep those things running all summer long, because once you're committed, you can't let it burn up. You try not to, but the water's so limited anymore. It's dropping off, and it's just not what it used to be.
Right.
20 years ago when I was farming, there were still some 8-inch wells around. They're just not anymore.
Man.
They're cutting down pivots and re-nozzling every other month, every other week sometimes. So it drops off. The more you use it, the more it goes down.
Right. Of course.
And it takes a while to build that profile up again. So it's easier for dryland farmers. I didn't say it was easy. It's easier than a dryland being a dryland farmer than an irrigated, because there's challenges with the irrigation that comes immediately with an irrigated farmer.
Well, sure. Yeah. So you said that your son Travis helps you, and he also works here.
Travis has done well. I'm proud
Yeah.
of him. He runs the Plainview store.
Yes, sir.
When I first started with Wiley's, he was one of the first service techs I hired to be, right there with me to help grow the business, because I knew he knew how to work. I knew I could trust him. And there's a lot of people say that you can't hire and work with family.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
Well, there's some of that's true,
Right.
but there are some that you can work with, you can trust, you can expect to grow with. And I knew when Scott put me in this position, I knew that Travis was farming at the time, and I knew that if I wanted to make the business grow, and Scott let me have that leniency
Right.
to hire who I needed to and who I wanted to, I knew at that point that I wanted Travis on board. Not necessarily that he thinks like me, but he does sometimes, and you can see it. The one thing I knew that I could depend on was I could give him anything to do and he'd do it, and he wouldn't ask why. He just does. And we started out together in the service. He was one of my third service tech. That was great. We worked together day in and day out. Built a great base of customers, and then of course they bought the Plainview store, and now they want somebody to run the shop there. And Scott asked me if he thought he could do it, and I said if I was to grow Plainview, I would put Travis up there.
Right.
I had that much faith in him. I knew how hard he worked. I knew he could do it, and yet he's taken that role from service all the way up to store manager, and very proud of him. It goes with a lot of long hours, of course, but he's done well, and the Plainview store is thriving. And,
Yes.
And of
Yes,
course,
sir.
Travis could not do it with all them boys up there. Those ladies and gentlemen up there, they're great. They work hard. They see Travis working hard, so they work hard. It just makes a difference, and to see somebody that works hard and is not afraid to work and do anything that the employee might do or be called to do, I think it shows a little bit of leadership that they respect and they want to work harder for you.
Oh yeah.
So we don't have any animosity. There's no, actually it helps us bounce off of each other because he's now in sales,
Sure. Yeah.
store manager sales. I'm in service.
Sure.
So if I get leads, I can't sell. So I pass them to the Lubbock guys or some to Plainview or whoever, wherever they call me from, because I still take calls all over this country.
Sure.
It's not just in Lubbock that I'm the service manager for. So these guys call and they'll ask, who do I need to talk to about a sprayer? Well, I know the Plainview group will get after it and go after them, and Travis is a part of that, and I'm glad I have that so I can feed off of that.
Yeah.
And it helps. And plus, he knows the service side. So there's things that he might know that I've forgotten from way back, the older sprayers that I might need to bounce off of him. So we're constantly in contact with each other. And of course, we see each other nearly every night, running parts from Lubbock to Plainview, and I go by the house, drop off parts, and he does the same. So that helps us. But very proud of him. He's done a great job. Proud of all my kids. They've all done great. And I'll take that as me and Kim look at that very prideful that all three of them know how to work. All three of them's made some difference in their community. They know how to work. So I'm glad that he accepted that role, and I'm glad for Scott allowing that to happen. I think he's happy that we did that because it's really made a difference.
Yeah, that Plainview store, they kick butt, man.
They've got a great team. They've got it's all of them. It's not just parts, service, sales. It takes all of us to make that dealership work. And again, you got to have a leader, but you got to have leaders under the leader, and he's got a slew of them. Those guys respect each other. You lead by example, and you trust the employees that you have, and I think that's what they have there. And I think it's been by leadership through Scott, through Jason, through Travis, through Peyton, through all those boys. All the dealerships have should have the same goals. I mean, it's just not Plainview and Lubbock that make this thing work.
Sure.
It's this whole company, and we all have to pour our hearts into what we do. The only difference is what do you see the farmer as? How important is it to do how important is our job at Wiley's to keep these farmers going? That's what everybody has to understand and realize, and how much we might have to give up of our time to make them money. So it's easy for me to see because I've wore both hats, but it helps. But yeah, Plainview's, Travis and them have done very, very well.
Man, well, good deal. So shifting the focus a little bit to sprayers specifically, since you do service sprayers, from what I've heard, you have a great deal to do with some of the improvements that have been made.
Well, when they're running, there's some things that I don't like, and I hear them every day.
Yeah.
Customers calling. I wish they'd make these changes. I wish they'd make this better. It would be naive for me to think that I couldn't do something about it. So, I have voiced my opinion with Case. I don't know how many changes they've made, but they have come with a lot of changes over the years, going through all the PDIs and the downfalls of a product that's failed, or a product that's they should have never came out with, maybe made an improvement, but it really wasn't. We've helped step back and make those improvements, and you want to feel like as you go through, if you didn't make improvements over 25 years, I don't think you're doing anything. So you would want to think that the company have grown, the equipment has gotten better, the plant has gotten better. We don't just make Case equipment, we make Wylie equipment. I still take a lot of calls on the Wylie equipment. So to make those things better, yeah, it's input over the years. I'm definitely not an engineer by any means, but it doesn't take an engineer to figure out that things don't work right, and you gotta fix them. So I would like to think there are some things that have changed with the input and help from me. I know they've given me that opportunity, and I don't take it lightly. It's been they've trusted me with a lot of things, and over the years I hope they understand that I'm loyal, that the company's number one for sure. And there has been a lot of products changes over the years. Back when I was farming, we didn't have guidance, and thank God we didn't have cell phones, but the equipment now is unbelievable.
Right.
It's really the last sprayer that we got in the 50 series. It made drastic changes in the marketplace. It really did. It's a new cab, new design. The suspension was incredible change. They had to really look at it. Now, we had some growing pains when they first came out, but that's a new product. You're
going to have
you're
that.
expecting that. But we do make changes. Case has got a good product all the way around. If you have a piece of equipment and you can't get the service that you need, well, you might look elsewhere. If you can't get the response that you want from a service, then you need to look elsewhere. All service nowadays is just got extremely competitive, because the machineries are they can be so overwhelming, the electronics that are on it, that's just unbelievably hard to troubleshoot. There are tools that you can hook up to it to try to help that and try to solve the issue. But there are times where a machine may be down for a little while, and it's going to always boil down to service. Of course, me and Travis on our farm, we don't have to worry about it, because we got two service people that work for us.
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of nice, and we don't mind staying late and working.
Sure. Yes, sir. Well, good. Well, yeah, and I was going to say that, just in the year that I've been here, changes that have been made to sprayers and even tractors, it's just been insane.
Yeah.
With AI coming out and everything like that, and automation, and do you think that that's going to change the way people spray within the next decade?
I think it'll have there'll be some improvements. There'll be some changes. I know the one change that they're looking at, right, they've already started it. It's the vision.
Okay.
We do have some vision out right now, but the new vision coming from the top of the cab, where it actually sprays just what it sees, and it guides it all through the vision. It guides it, it sprays it. It pretty much operates the whole machine from a new vision from Raven. I've seen it in prototype. It's coming. If you could save the farmer a little bit of money on chemicals, that's extremely important. They're very high, very costly. So if you could save that farmer every saving that you could save them would help. It'd be beneficial. So if a little bit of it's a two-edged sword, because you could save money on your chemicals, but you better save some because you're going to have to buy the equipment.
Sure.
So how much can you save? I don't know. They've got all types of weed seeker sprayers out on the market right now that are very high, and not everybody can afford them. So maybe it'll be something that they could move in and make it where it could be installed on some of the older sprayers, which to me might be an option for them, because they don't have to have the new equipment to run it, but it's all ISOs now. So I'm sure there's going to be tied to that. So it's going to be limited on how far they could go back and what machines could qualify or be installed on. But there's going to be a lot of changes. I still wonder if anything will ever drive itself. I know there's some out there now, but that's pretty scary when you think about thousands and thousands of dollars running up and down the road, and you got drift and spraying, the cotton, the crops that are real susceptible to chemicals. It's just incredibly hard to make it stay. And I think that would be a little bit further out there, but that vision spraying is coming.
Okay.
And I think it will benefit them a great deal on the newer sprayers. I really do.
So do you, I could see that benefiting, but like you said, but they're going to then have to buy the newer equipment, and then that's the only way they're going to get it at that point. And it's just,
well, they're gonna, if the guys have a 2-year-old sprayer or 3-year-old like they do right now, and those sprayers will be able to adapt that, I think it'll be a viable option for them.
Sure.
Because by 2 or 3, 4 years, they might have that sprayer paid for, and it'll be an ISO sprayer, so they could probably put it on it. I'm just speculating for sure, but I know it's something that's coming, and it will be adaptable to the ISO sprayers, so that would be a plus.
This is just a random question for me, but what is ISO?
It's where it talks. Everybody talks to each other.
Oh, okay.
So you can put a different piece of equipment on that tractor, and it sees it, and it talks to it through the ISO system.
Okay, so it's like an integrated, I guess, network of
That's
whatever.
correct. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So you could run like an auto height
controller,
an auto boom, auto height, auto fold. All those are on the ISO system, on the CAN system.
And is it like one hub where you can control everything? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that these improvements that they're making are helping, or do you think they're kind of just fancy gadgets just because they can add some?
Well, I think you see which one is fancy gadget and which one that's working, because the fancy gadget's going to go away. I mean, the first thing, the improvement that we saw was a simple camera. You put a camera on the back, you can see who's coming down the road, and it's so simple that nobody ever thought. But now the camera's on everything.
Right.
There's going to be some things that they can afford, and it'll make them money. But the big stuff that gets into the 60, 80, 90, 100,000, that's pretty tough. I mean, they're out there now. Some of get what you're calling gadgets and things, they're out there, but they're not cost effective.
Right.
So, some of them are going to get them, some of them won't, and most won't. But they're out there for availability, and the cost is on some of them are not so extreme.
Sure.
But yeah, there's always going to be something that's out there that these guys could add, whether it be lights or weed seeker or height control. I mean, you can put a height control on a boom and keep it out of the dirt. Well, what's that saving? Well, the saving is you don't tear your boom up.
Well, yeah,
it keeps it at a certain height all the time, and you're not having to watch it, wear and tear on the guy in the cab. So those are just certain things that you can add to a sprayer as you go. If you didn't buy it when it came new, you can add those things that help benefit and, in my mind, drive production. Because the more you can cover in a day with that sprayer, the more money you make. It's just a given. That's what they do. They get on these machines. They expect them to run so they can get across everything in a timely manner. That's the key, time. And if these new products coming out can save these guys some time and keep somebody off of the machine hour on hour on hour, it'll pay.
So efficiency is the name
Efficiency,
of the game.
that's
Yes,
correct.
Sir. Okay. Well, so shifting to a little more of the service side, what's your approach to the service department as a whole?
Well, I've been at it for 25 years. I've learned a lot. You know, I'm definitely not perfect. We don't run a perfect service. But I would like to say that Wylie's has come a long way in the service side. They've really tried to do the very best that they could do and be the very best that they could be. The thing that helps me the most, and I think that's what helps Plainview and these other locations, if the thing that helps you the most, or me anyway, is that I farmed for 22 years, so I understand what these guys are up against.
Sure.
I've watched it, I've learned it, and what I understand as a service manager, and what I'd like for all of our service managers to understand, and most of them get it, is that there's an important aspect that some of us miss, and that is critical time. Some of us, as a service, we have to take those calls when we don't want them.
Right.
We have to try to help as fast as we can. We're a trauma center. That's what I like to compare our service to. We're trauma. When the call comes in, we have to put it on a list of how urgent it is. Of course, every customer gets in line.
Sure.
And you got to reschedule the best you can to compensate and adapt to all the service that you have going on. But if you've got something in the shop that's waiting on parts, and a call comes in where this guy's got a full tank of chemical that's going to set up overnight, or you've got a tractor that's got corn seed in it, and he's spraying behind it, and he can't move, or you got a combine the list goes on. You got a combine that's harvesting and rain's coming.
Yeah.
Are you a service manager that says, well, we'll get it tomorrow? What I like to think, and what I would like to strive for us all to be, is that guy's down, and his whole year has been based on what he gets done in the next 10 hours. His crop is out there. He needs to spray. He's got weeds coming. He's had that beautiful rain. You know, and we've had 3 or 4 inches, and now the weeds are outgrowing his cotton. The weeds are going to take it. And we have a chance to be the saving grace if we respond in an urgent manner, because we've been in those shoes that he's in now. And if you understand that, then it makes you better at your job as far as service.
Sure.
Because it's very important. I mean, we've got guys that are making millions of dollars feeding half the world, and our response is, well, it's going to be a couple of weeks. I just that's not in my vocabulary.
Right.
It's just really, it can't be. I've got to be better than that. I got to juggle things around. This guy's not that he's not as important, but I make that phone call to him and go, hey, we don't have the parts for you. We're going to go over here instead of you today because we can't finish it anyway. Sure. Yeah, those farmers understand. But we need to, I would like for us as Wiley's to really strive and understand that farmers are our life. I'm a farmer as well. So we can be a pain in the butt. We really can be. We want it right now. We want it actually yesterday.
Right.
So we have to have that mentality to say, okay, yeah, well, it's not my fault that you went to the lake. It's not my fault you decided to take off yesterday, but the rain's coming. Suck it up. We got to get that customer taken care of.
Right.
And if we can keep that in mind, just knowing that they are our livelihood, they do make us money, they are supporting Wiley's, buying our product. And I think if you have that mentality, the service will sell. Every machine that sells. And if you drop that ball, you won't sell them another one.
Well, sure.
I promise you.
They'll
Because they'll go somewhere else to find that service.
Yeah, they'll swap loyalties instantly.
And it won't matter what color it is. It could be
Right.
pink. They're going to go buy it.
We wouldn't want a pink tractor out there. But, well, speaking of mindset, I think we'll start wrapping up with so managing, you do run a farm on the weekends and like you said, in your spare time, and you do manage the service. What mindset do you take to kind of keep everything together, I guess is the best way to put it? What's your
Well, I just try to take one thing at a time. I mean, just pray that the good Lord will give me a mind for a while just to hash it out. I mean, the farming comes second. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I've got a job to do. I take pride in that. I'm going to do the job the best I can. Sure, we'll take off time to harvest and things like that, but you're allowed those times off anyway, vacation, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But to manage the both, I come to work.
Right.
If I have to make business decisions, I'll make them. It's not going to pull me away from anything. But to manage it is no different than anybody else in this world. It has to manage family, church, time, taking care of their mothers and their daddies, doing all the things that life throws at you. My job's not any different. You just got to trust in the Lord and make a decision and stick with it and just trust that it's going to be the right one.
Yes, sir.
And I guess the biggest thing that I struggle with is just how are my employees, can I keep them going and their families? Because they depend on me to get the job done.
Yes, sir.
And I respect that because I want to push them to the limit and sometimes too much. I understand that. But I want them to have prideful in their job, in their families, because we are working and trying to make money to support Wiley's. And that includes every employee. That includes you and everybody else in this company, that we're working our hind ends off so that we as a company can have a job.
Yes, sir. Well, to open or to wrap everything up, I'd say I'd like to open the floor up to you, and if you'd like to impart any final words of wisdom.
Well, words of wisdom, again, I know I'm going to say it again, but I appreciate Scott giving me that opportunity.
Yes, sir.
He didn't know what he was getting, but I'm hoping that he's proud of what we've achieved over the years. I mean, we've come from just Wiley's to Case sprayers, Case tractors, we've come a long way. And when I first took this over, I had 10 techs, and that was in New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas.
Right.
And now we've got the same amount of territory, but we've got, 80, 90 techs that run this whole country. And that's how much we've grown. And I appreciate, again, him giving me the opportunity. And Jason has given me the opportunity as well to continue to help lead the company. We've got great employees. I would just say, as far as closing, I would say if you're listening to this and you're an employee to Wiley's, strive to be the best you can be. Work hard. The pay is great. The end result is great. It's been a good run. I hope it lasts for a little while longer. One day I will retire, but I just want the guys that are coming on board right now to see that they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to do great things, but it's strictly up to them whether they want to run with that ball or they want to just sit on the sideline and be a player. I'd rather run with the ball and make some accomplishments, make some changes for the good, knowing that the company depends on you. And I know the plant does great things with Stephen and them running over there, but they have the same mindset, and they have to, because not only Case, not only the Wylie product, everybody out there is working for the same goal. And if we can keep running like that, then Scott might keep us on.
Well, good deal. All right. Well, David, thanks for sitting down and talking to me today, and it was a great conversation. I
Yeah,
appreciate
well, I
it.
give God all the glory. He's sent me through a lot of trials and tribulations, and He'll continue to bless us.
Well, yes, sir, and he continues to do that as time goes.
Yep,
You know?
absolutely.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.